Good morning, St. Paul family. This is the Monday morning kind of Bible study motivation here. With our last week of school, we've made it. This is what we've been looking forward to. And I know that it has been difficult. It's been a difficult task for a lot of you in a lot of different ways. So I'd like to encourage you this morning to keep going. And I would like to read a couple passages. One is from the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 14. It says, I press on towards the goal of the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Last week was a tough week for me. On Tuesday, it was the anniversary of when my father passed away. And then I kind of started to get the news that Mrs. Rob's mom was, time was getting short here on this earth. And then she passed away on Wednesday morning, and it really brought back a ton of memories for me. A lot of different things that I thought about, a lot of different things that I wondered about. This is Mother's Day weekend. How is the family supposed to deal with this? How are you as high school students? All these things that aren't fair. It's not fair that we didn't get to have a regular school year. It's not fair that we didn't get to have, regular graduation, regular everything. How do we continue to do this? And, and me personally, as the week went on, it was really wearing on me. There's times, even as the principal of a Lutheran school, that I go through good times and bad times where I feel really close to God, and sometimes that I feel very far from Him. And then a lot of times that is mixed in with the challenges that are going on. When we have a lot of challenges right now within our school, within helping our students, in supporting our staff, in trying to figure out finances, in figuring out who can come back to school, what does that look like, how can we, when can we? It's very difficult. And last week I was overwhelmed by it, quite honestly. In trying to wrestle with what do we do, some of this memory work just kept popping back in my head. If I press on towards the goal. So this is me asking you to join me in pressing on. We have students that haven't done a lot of work since we've been in the quarantined and doing online school. I ask you, for those of you that haven't done a lot of work, that you need to do some stuff this week. You need to show that you can get some things done. For those of you that have been doing your work all the time, press on. It's almost over. You can see it. The finish line is ahead of us. And then we can start to regroup and focus on what the future means, because I don't think anybody really knows. And this, for our faculty, this has not been easy for them either. And I encourage our faculty members to continue to press on. We're about there. We can do this. We can get this finished. So why why should we press on? Why should we keep doing it? That's really the question that was wrestling in my mind. Why should we do this? Why should we keep going? And when my father passed away, I got a very nice gift from basketball players that were seniors at the time. And it's a cross. And on the cross, it has one of my favorite verses that I'd like to share with you. It's from Matthew 25. And it's a long parable, and I won't read you the whole parable. But it's talking about what the kingdom of heaven could be like. And in this parable, a master gives 3 different servants 3 different amounts of money. basically, and says, I'll come back at some point in time. And those different, in this term is talents, was given to each person differently. And when the master returned, he called them together. And there was one servant that got 5 talents, one servant that got 2 talents, and one servant that got 1 talent. And the servant that got 5 talents and the servant that had 2 talents made wise choices, and the servant that had 1 talent made a poor choice. And here's what it says in Matthew 25, verse 20. And he had received 5 talents, came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here, I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your master. And that's the why. That's why we do this. It's why we press on. It's why we hold the hope in all the things that we talked about as we went through all the suffering and all this affliction. That's what we want to hear. When it's all said and done, as we enter heaven, I want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter the joy of your master. Come here. Come on in. I am certain that my Father heard those words. I am overwhelmingly certain that Mrs. Graham heard those words last week as she entered into the joy of her master. And I encourage you to keep pushing, to keep striving, to keep driving, because there's no greater reward than what we will receive in heaven. I love you guys. I miss you very much. You can do this. Hang in there, and soon we'll get to all be together again. I hope you have a great week.